everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ball with me, Collie. This week I'm joined by Paddy. Paddy, what's the crack?
Hey, Collie, how's it going? How are you?
All good, all good. Paddy, we are joined by a current League of Ireland champion. I'm not gonna mess around. He doesn't need an introduction. It's Pico Lopes. Pico, what is the crack?
How's it going, guys? All good, all good.
All
How are
good.
you this
So,
fine pancake
Pico-
Tuesday?
we're well stuffed. Yeah. So Pico, we do the same thing every week. We don't change it because we don't have that ability to do it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to jump into the question section, which is questions sent in by the followers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. So we're going to take you into the question section. Top notch, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Not where I am, eat your heart though, huh?
Paddy, do you want to jump on to the first one there?
Yeah, go on. This is from Shane Kavanagh. So, hey, Pico, cracking shift last night. I'm a football coach for an under-13s team. What advice would you give to the younger generation to get them interested in the League of Ireland?
It's probably an easy answer. Just get them to a game. I was never really into League of Ireland before I started playing in it. But I remember going to a game. I think it was when I signed for Bowles 20s. I was there when we first League of Ireland again. I said to myself, "This is incredible." And even now, like when I have the spare time going to a match, it's just you just can't beat live football. I watch a lot of football on telly here, but like just being there in person, feeling the atmosphere, like, and especially for a young team, like even bringing them together so that they end up going with their mates on a roll. That's just a fantastic sort of promotion just going to a live game.
Yeah. And it's really great, like the likes of Shamrock Rovers, and that's so cheap to bring your kids, to bring the younger kids.
Like,
you know,
even the season. I'm not trying to give them a plug or anything, but the season tickets for kids, I think it's like €25, like to get every single home game. Like, and I mean, they're going with their friends. Yeah, it's good habits as well. Like, I suppose if they enjoy going when they're younger, they're more likely going to be stick around and going to roller.
And it's helpful when you're winning as well, so it's good to bring them down to Rovers as well, which is great.
Yeah. No pressure.
We go getting a bit of commission off that one. Just it's good. What would you reckon, right? So obviously you have the ultras in behind the goal. Would you say get them into the quieter stand, or would you say just throw them straight in there, throw them in the deep end with all the mad things at the back behind the goal?
Do you know what I'd say? Make sure in the stand where you can see the south stand first, just to see the atmosphere and get a taste of it. Like, and then like obviously people probably love it, and then you're probably going to be in it the next week. Like, so, but I think you have to stand back and have a look at it first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right, we'll move on to the next one. Another one in from Shane. So I seen your cooking videos on the Rovers socials over lockdown. What age do you think players have to start looking at their football nutrition diets?
I wouldn't say too early. To be honest, I suppose it's all down to the individual. It's like I suppose as you maybe go a bit more serious, or if you start coming into the full-time setup with a first team, that's when you really need to start looking at it. Like, well, saying like they're probably 17, 18, 19, and eating packets of crisps before you go training, or the old Mars bar and a bottle of Coke. You might need to start looking at a few videos there and seeking a bit of advice. So maybe around like enjoy your teenage years, but as you get towards your later ones, maybe start looking at it.
Because it catches up on you, as you can see from me. Right, Paddy, we'll move on to the next one there.
Okay, this is from Harry34. Thoughts on Bowes now you're playing for Rovers? And obviously you started out with Bowes.
Controversial?
Not too controversial. Like I say, I've still had a few friends at Bowes. Like obviously Bucko just left this year. Like, and I think they've done a really good job. I think every year they seem to lose loads of players, and they're able to put a really strong team in the next season and be really competitive. And you're saying last year they made it to a cup final and competed in Europe. Like, so every year they seem to do well and compete. And look, we always look forward to the derby. And they're always great games. Like, so yeah, they're doing a great job.
Do you ever feel like that the players want you to hate them? Like, there's obviously that rivalry. Do you ever feel like you get that bit of pressure, like to hate them, like
the fans?
Yeah, the fans. Like, sorry, the fans, not the players.
Kind of like you obviously, like you can feel the sort of like the tension in the air at derby, like but I suppose like on the pitch, like you try to approach it as any game, and I'm not particularly, I don't think I'm particularly friendly with anyone that I go on the pitch with. Like you say, I'm by no means going around kicking everybody, like, but I'm there to kind of win a game, and like if I'm against you, it doesn't matter who you play for. Like I'm going to treat you as the enemy.
Yeah, it just turns professional then, doesn't it? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Right, on to the next one. Paddy, I can't remember if it's you or me.
It's me, it's you, Collie.
Sorry. Grey Squirrel. There was rumours of other clubs interested after AFCON. Was there any contact made, or was there no interest from your side? Tough one to answer, obviously.
Yeah, like no, there's been nothing nobody contacted me or nothing been said to me. I know there was some stuff said in the papers and the manager said something. Yeah, and maybe one or two people did out like interest contact the club, but there was nothing serious there, nothing generated or nothing sort of said to me. Like so, there's a lot of hearsay that goes around, like especially after competitions and even the league. I don't pay any attention to it until someone actually comes and says, "Oh, by the way," but so that's really it.
Right, next one, Paddy.
SRFC 1888. If you could have dinner with 3 other people, dead or alive, who would it be? And why?
Jesus, why you killed me?
Yeah,
we couldn't fit that in. I'd probably go Michael Jordan, Jim Carrey, and because I'm watching the documentary at the moment, Kanye West.
Oh man, I watched that second episode. He's a genius. They were doing the song "Through the Wire." Yeah, I see him. I think it was Pharrell's reaction to "Through the Wire," and he walks out of the room and he's just like, "Oh my god, it's Through the Wire!" That was fucking
exactly. It's a joke, and he'll always keep you entertained. Like he might be talking, he might have you inspired at the table, and then he just goes off on one, and then it's a party again. And just obviously, Michael Jordan's a sporting legend, and just after watching The Last Dance, I was just like, "Jeez, just like to listen to him for hours and hours." And look, Jim Carrey's one of the funniest people that I've ever seen on TV. Like, so I just keep him around as a jester.
All right, that'd be brilliant.
Right, so we'll move on to the next one. So Shane Barry 9. What's your thoughts on clubs being fined for using pyro or throwing projectiles on the pitch?
It's a tough one. I think, like obviously, like likes of flares and that create a good atmosphere. And you get some really good photos. Like, but saves as soon as it comes onto the pitch, like I'll be honest, it wrecks me head. Players come onto the pitch, stopping games when you're on the attack, or you're just trying to get the game on with. Like, it's just unnecessary. Like, and look, the clubs are being fined for it. So in the fourth place, why are you thrown onto the pitch? I've no problem with players, people holding them in the crowds and then disposing of them like properly, like, but throwing them onto the pitch and causing disruption in the games, it's pointless. No one needs it. And then obviously like fireworks and that, like they should be nowhere near stadium.
We were at the game last night, and obviously I think they lit one of the flares, didn't they? But of course they got rid of it properly, like, in fairness to them, like. So, but it was great to see it, and although like it was the opposition, like seeing the flare it just created that little bit of atmosphere among that little small group that was there. Like, I thought it looked great. Like, so I think
it does look great, but it does. If you were on the pitch and then it stops for another 5 minutes, it happened so many times that we'd be on the attack one time and then the referee's blowing the whistle because there's been smoke bomb on the pitch. That just kills the momentum, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks good, looks great, but if they can fucking handle them.
Would you not ever have it in your pocket in case you're under the cosh? You just let them stop their attack.
Actually, I'm going to take that one down and bring it in there.
Throw it at their feet.
10 men, boom, boom.
Right, on to the last one here, Paddy. I'll let you.
This is one from ourselves. We ask every guest that comes on. So, if your house was on fire and you had to run in and grab 2 things from your career, what would they be?
2 things from my career.
No one gets injured or anything as well with the fire.
Very good.
It's a fun fire.
Probably the man of the match from the AFCON and the FAI Cup when I was medal.
That cup that you use, that's a little man of the match cup. It's an actual cup, isn't it?
Man of the match. It's like its own trophy. It's not really a cup. Like it's like a trophy that has the map of Africa in it, and then it's on a little plaque. Yeah,
that's class. Sorry, there's just one comment in there. I suppose we'll ask you while we're on the questions. Did you ever get the chance to play for Ireland, or did you just want to play for Cape Verde?
I played rather like sparingly for Ireland in the 19s. I think I played maybe 2 minutes at the end of a game against Italy. Like, I suppose growing up, we always had aspirations of playing for Ireland, and then the Cape Verde thing sort of like I always knew obviously I'd be eligible to play, but didn't know how to go about it. And then I'm sure you've all heard the LinkedIn story. I'll save the listeners me talking about that again. Like, and yeah, it just sort of snowballed for there, and like obviously the opportunity to play international football, I jumped at that, and I've loved it ever since.
Can you actually? I know you've probably told it a million times. Can you just tell the story about how that happened? Because Paddy, I don't know if you heard it. I don't think you heard this.
Yeah, I was looking at it off the ball earlier on. Actually,
I'm sure everyone's heard it. Yeah, like I got a message on LinkedIn in Portuguese, and I thought it was spam, and it just so lazy of me. Didn't even bother to translate it. Like, and just said, right, that's grand. Left it for 9 months, and then obviously the manager wrote back to me again and saying, like, had you thought about what we said in English? And I was like, oh Jesus, what have we missed out on here? And just Google Translate came to the rescue, and I just apologised profusely and just said if the opportunity is still there, I'd love to be a part of it, and thankfully it was, and the rest is history, I suppose.
That's hilarious.
Who checked our LinkedIn messages? I don't blame you. Nobody checks our LinkedIn messages.
No,
it's LinkedIn for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's normally me and all the people I went to college with. They're my only connections, and then Cape Verde manager.
That's right. We're gonna jump off the question, so we're going to. Sorry if we can get rid of them instead of being a dope. Right, we're gonna just jump. What is going on here? We're gonna jump on to just about your own career. So, look, obviously everybody kind of knows from Bowes going up to Rovers. So I always like to go back to the very start. So, like, how did you get into football at the very start? Where did you grow up, and where were you what was your kind of first introduction into football?
Yeah, so I was born in Crumlin, lived there all my life. I've recently moved to Tallaght. But I think it was one day I was in school in Loretto Primary, and Lord Celtic would have been the local club. I literally lived around the corner from Old County Glen, so that's where their clubhouse was. They came in just saying we run an academy on Saturday, Sunday. I remember they handed out flyers. I brought it home to my mum. I didn't actually like football at this stage. I was just out on the road playing the whole time. And I went down to Lord Celtic and just fell in love with it. I just loved the sort of the athleticism with it, the combat with it, just the winning, and just the joy of just running about, chasing the ball, just little things. Back then, like, there was nothing better for me. And I think I played with Lords right up until I was 13, and I had an unbelievable time there. I had a great team, fantastic manager, and just all the sort of kids and the parents who sort of looked at that team were incredible. And just I think it got to around 13 where we broke up. And we started to lose players sort of move on to maybe the better teams like the Kevins and the Belvederes, Cherry Orchards, who were very strong at my age. And people just went a separate way. And I think I went to Home Farm. Not that I think I did go to Home Farm.
You did. I'm looking at it here.
I went to Home Farm for 3 years there, which was a great experience because obviously it was across town. I had to travel. I remember coming home from school absolutely knackered and starving, and trying to get food into you, and have a 10-minute nap, and then straight on the bus to make training for 7 o'clock. And it was actually the travel over there was so long that I ended up just getting a bike and cycling over across town 25 minutes. Like, so that was where the fitness came in. Like,
exactly.
For me last year in schoolboy football, I played for Belvedere, and we just had a really, really strong team, and we were really successful that year. I think we won all 3 trophies on offer. Like,
nice one, And so you're, what's that, 16, 17, I suppose the last kind of, then you moved to Bowes, do you?
Yeah, so it was our Belvedere on the 17th team. I think there was maybe 9 or 10 of us that Bowes wanted to sign for the under 20s and reserve side, which was brilliant. So I got to go up with some lads that I grew really close to. And we kind of helped us settle, and then it just gave us this sort of platform to have a really strong team, build our confidence, and then look, a few of us were lucky enough to be called up to the first team pretty soon after that.
And that was the under 20s league, wasn't it? That was kind of the first or second year of that, wasn't it? I think I'm not too sure how. Like, again, like, I didn't really know not a lot about League of Ireland when I joined, so I don't know how long the under 20s and reserves league was in. But they kind of got rid of it fairly sharpish once you're in it, which for me, I've always said I thought the reserves was an excellent league. It was a great opportunity to play against first team players, or just get a feel for what the League of Ireland is about. Like, and I think the sooner
they bring it back or something similar to it, the better our legs will become.
Yeah, definitely. Just before I jump on to you, Paddy, just a couple of comments in here. How big was the adjustment from playing for Rovers to playing in the AFCON?
To be honest with you, it wasn't a huge adjustment, and I think that's down to the experience of playing in Europe. Obviously, been lucky to been involved in the European campaign every season with Rovers, and we played some really good teams, which that stood to us over there. And the AFCON was a bit mad. And I remember my mum telling me that Joey Dow wrote an article about going over there and saying that, like, I'll face so many challenges off the pitch that I'll really will learn, like, more about myself as a person, as a player, and that couldn't have been true, or not true, or word spoken, like, because there were so many sort of distractions and stuff going on and off the pitch, that when you came to the football side and you came into these big stadiums, that's what was familiar. So it was just the football part was maybe the easiest part, because that's what you knew, that's what you could control. That's what you're there for. That's what you're prepared for. The whole sort of off season and the last 2 or 3 weeks in the training camp was to play these games. They're not sort of prepared for, 11 COVID cases or food poisoning or like all this sort of hotel sort of troubles and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff's added on, isn't it?
The
whole experience.
You were saying the stuff outside the football. You were saying it was mad over there. Like what type of stuff are you talking about? Like,
well, like this, I suppose. Like, we started in Cape Verde. We were supposed to stay there for 3 days and have a friendly, and then fly to Morocco for 6 days and play 2 friendlies. I think on the second day we had 3 COVID cases. That jumped up to 9 on day 3, and then it went to 14. I think at one stage it got to a stage where we had so many positive cases, and including coach and staff as well, that they trained in the evening and we trained in the morning. Just because they were lucky enough now, there were no symptoms really, that they were able to train. And Morocco, the Morocco national team, they also had COVID cases, so that friendly was cancelled. And we ended up staying in Cape Verde a lot longer than we were supposed to. Like, we meant to fly to Cameroon, but because most of the team were still positive, we didn't want to go without them. And in the end, we ended up going there with still maybe 6 or 7 players left in Cape Verde, including our manager. So it was a bit sort of all over the place in terms of, like, we were here as a group when we first joined, and now we're sort of disjointed. And then obviously there's a bit like the hotels were sort of were looking to get our own rooms, but they said they couldn't do it because Gabon was staying in the hotel as well, and then they didn't end up staying there. Like, so there was just a bit of a rigmarole with stuff going on, but it all seemed to work out in the end. To say we got most of our players back before the first game, and the manager was there by the second game. And as I said, once you got into the stadium and once you got to sort of into the dressing room, it was like,
this
is the easy part. This is what I'm here for. I can forget all that stuff, and it really does. It sort of does build your character and build your confidence. And could hard to say, like, it's all gone crazy out there. Like, so just control the controllables.
Absolutely.
Does it get to the stage with the COVID cases where it was like the actual participation in the tournament becoming a question, or was it always going to be, now look, we have enough time to kind of let the COVID run its course, or was there any questions of actually not being able to play at all?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think anyone knew what the story was going to be like, and that was my biggest fear was catching it. Was catching it before I got on the plane over there. So it was really like getting, like, going near nobody, and Christmas was really sort of like isolated. But because I didn't know if I tested positive before I was going to the flight. Like, was that my tournament over? And then even going over there, you're worried about doing every test, because if you test positive, you don't know if you're being sent back home once you get a negative test, or you're able to continue. So thankfully, like, we got a bit more information as people tested positive, and I think the quarantine was down to 5 or 6 days. And once we got a negative test, we were able to travel. And when we arrived in Cameroon, we met with the CAF officials, and they explained the COVID procedure there. And they said, if you test positive, you get tested 2 days before a game. The test comes back that day. If you test positive, you isolate on your own until the next test, which is 2 days before the next game. If you get a negative test, then you come out of isolation and you're available to train. So
so at least you had a bit of clarity on that, like
100%. Like, then you still didn't want to miss a game, but I knew that if I tested positive over there, I could be back. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not your tournament over.
Yeah. We'll probably touch back onto the AFCON in a little while, but just the next one, sorry, probably before I go on again, sorry. young lad, big up lads, what a guest. Huge respect for Pico, or to Pico for everything you've achieved so far from a Cork City fan. There you go, nice to hear from a Cork City fan. I say you don't hear that often from them.
No, I don't get much praise off them.
Paddy, sorry, I'll jump on to you there.
No, you're right. I suppose, going back to your young career, was there anybody that inspired you? Any teams you supported, and who did you look up to back then when you were started your football career?
Yeah, no real players or teams. I don't support anyone. I just love watching all football. But my old manager at Lord Celtic, Pat Holmes, he was fantastic with me and my family and the team that we had at the time at Lords. I still stay in touch with Pat. Like he's ringing me over in Africa, and he's still really good friends with me, with my family. Like there's a lot of help for us. He was brilliant. He really sort of gave me the principles that I sort of stick by today, and say when he rings me, like we're still talking about stuff that happened years ago with that team. Like so, he was brilliant for me. Like, and apart from that, I didn't really look up to many footballers. Just wanted to go on my own path.
Yeah. And what age would you have been when you kind of said to yourself, "This is what I want to do full time"? And when did you find out? Well, this is actually I'm going to be able to do it full time now.
Yeah, I suppose like I've always wanted to be a footballer. Like from once I started kicking the balls, I was like, right, I want to be a footballer. And then I suppose the realization sort of kicked in maybe as I got in. Maybe it went to Bowes. I was thinking to myself, right, like England might be the opportunity, but I can make a career out of League of Ireland. And then I think as I spent a few years at Bowes, I think to myself, this isn't going to get me a mortgage. I might need to look at a career outside football. I think I was getting to 23 at this stage, and that happened, and I was working in a bank, and then just wasn't really enjoying it as much as I thought. And I said to myself, there's just got to be more I can give to the game, and just kind of give football the attention that it deserves, the commitment it deserves, just for myself, just to get out of my system. And then the opportunity came to go full time with Rovers, and I said to myself, if I don't take this opportunity, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Yeah. And even if it didn't work out, at least I can say to myself that I took that opportunity and I gave it a crack, and I could live with myself. But look, thankfully it's worked out well.
Yeah. So I'm back to the bank in a few years.
Yeah, well, I keep telling people, like, when I do retire, like, I don't care what I do. Like, I could work in the centre or Spar or Domino's, and I'd be happy because I lived my dream.
You've done your dream, yeah, exactly.
Would you like to stay in football, obviously, but do coaching or something like that? Have you thought about when you do?
Sorry, Pico, I just want to wonder, anybody that comes near their 30s, Paddy absolutely slates and calls them all old because he's 40 and he was fucking. We had Gavin Houlihan who's playing over in England at Hartlepool and just kept bringing up the fact that he was 30. Kept saying, "Oh, you're coming towards the end of the career," and I just couldn't let it go. Like,
I'm only allowed to ask one question about age now. That's all I'm allowed.
Like I say, I haven't actually thought. Like a few people have actually started to me more in the last while about like sort of coaching. Before that, I never really saw myself as a coach, but I suppose as you get older, you start to appreciate the little things about being around the dressing room, being around players, being around staff. Like, and it probably will something that I look into. I would like to be involved in the team in some regard. So never say never, but at the moment I'm just focused on playing and hopefully going into my late 40s, Paddy.
I didn't give you any chance of that.
I was going to say about collecting your pension next, but I'll leave that one until you're grand. Collie, I'll look over to you.
So just on going back to Bowles, obviously you spent the good 6 years there. So what was it like for you, kind of going from say whatever you went to the under-20s and then actually going into say the first team, because there was 1 or 2 seasons where that kind of took you a little bit longer to break into the team as such. But did you find that like there was a massive jump there, or did you find that you kind of eased yourself into that and you kind of just gradually went along with it, like at that kind of development?
Yeah, I kind of annoyed myself at this stage, like, because I was doing really well with the 20s and reserves, and I probably got up to the first day and trained them, and I think it was probably a little bit of naivety or a little bit of like not knowing that I was just I didn't take in enough sort of information or pay enough attention, like, because I was in a dressing room with great players and we had a great manager and Pat Fenn at the time, great coach Liam O'Brien. I think when I first went up there, I just like took to it like a duck to water. But then I sort of like I fell back a bit, like maybe got a few like knocks in confidence and that, like, and I just didn't really recover. It took me too long to recover from that, and maybe take on like the sort of little nuggets of information that we probably look back on now and think they were massive things. Like, so it did take me maybe a year or two to settle. Like, but I think the good thing, like, well, probably not for the club, like, but the fact that like they struggled financially and they had to get rid of some of the bigger players, it gave us the opportunity as young players to go in there and learn our trade, like, and there was some hard times, it was the hard games and trying to stay in the league, like, but it was a great learning curve for us to be able to sort of go through that and be stronger for it and stay this ship. And,
that's character building there as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, 100%. It's definitely builds your character. It kind of strips away like what you know about football, and you sort of develop your own sort of principles and your own beliefs, and then your confidence does start to develop with that.
Yeah. So obviously you made the big move from Bows to Rovers. So how did that come about? What way I suppose were you approached with the kind of the pitch of going to Shamrock Rovers?
I suppose like it was coming towards the end. I think it was 2016 season.
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
And I just I played with Glenn at Bows, like, and he knew about me, like, and he just asked, look, what's the story? What I did sign back for Bows at the end of the season. Like, would you be interested in having a chat with the manager? Like, and I say, like, I really do. I respect Glenn a lot, like, so I'd always listen to him, like, and I was at the time, I think I was speaking to a few of the pros at Bows as well at the time, and they were kind of saying, like what are you doing? Like, you're going to sort of like take the opportunity if it comes. And I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do myself, like, because I loved playing for Bows at the time, and like I really settled there, like, and I know it's a big sort of jump to go to the big rivals, but I met Stephen Bradley, and after like listening to him and the project that he had, and looking at the sort of the coaches there, like Glenn was a smashing League of Ireland player, like, get on really well. But Glenn, you had Stephen McPhail there and Duffer and Stephen Bradley, who was a great footballer as well. And I was playing midfield at the time, and it was one of the sort of things I had inside me that I wanted to become a better footballer. I knew what my strengths were playing midfield, and that was getting the ball back and like just being like a nuisance. Like, I wanted. Yeah, but I wanted to kind of learn that sort of side of the game where you can start controlling games and starting like kind of building attacks. Like, and I felt that if I went there under that stewardship of all them great players, that I'd be able to improve. Like, so that's all. And then obviously the project Roberts had, like, in terms of getting the training ground in there and the academy, like, it just sounded brilliant. And seeing that come all to fruition now, like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Paddy, I'll jump onto you. I have a few more over there, but I'll jump onto you. Just for,
all right, yeah. I suppose I'm going to go off topic from the going down the timeline of your career, but I'm really interested. You know, you've played in the AFCON now. You're playing top level in Ireland. How do you prepare on a day-to-day basis, mentally and physically, to deal with the stresses and strains of playing professional football? Because it isn't only the physical side of things. Yeah, you can eat right and you can train as much as you want, but for the mental side of it as well, like, you know, a bad thing happens in a game. How do you recover from stuff like that?
Yeah, so I suppose like that's true experience as well. Now, like, it was obviously tough when I was younger. Like, if we lost the game on the Friday, I wouldn't speak to anyone on the weekend, and probably still feeling down about it come Tuesday. I've gotten a lot better at that as I grew older, and that's just like having chats with myself really, and sort of like thinking about like, right, well, why am I letting this affect me, and why am I carrying yesterday, like say Friday's loss into next Friday, and I just sort of developed this sort of thing for myself, like, in that I said, right, if I lose a game, like I think it's important that if you lose a game, it hurts you, and let like be upset about it, but let it last 24 hours. After that, move on. It has to be on to the next game or the next protocol or the next sort of next game that you're looking forward to, like, and like just switch off, do something with your family, do something with your friends, do something with your girlfriend. Just take your mind off it. You can maybe take little mental notes of what you could do better from that game, and go work on it next week in training. And I've sort of adapted that approach as well to winning games. That like, you have a good result, you win 3 points, and you might score a goal, whatever. Great, enjoy it for 24 hours. But when then 24 hours are up, it's old news. Like, you need to really prepare for the next game, and again, where can you improve again? How can you get another goal next week, or how can you get another clean sheet next week? So. That's really helped, as I am a bit more laid back and relaxed. I used to be really uptight and tense about football, so I've learned to sort of relax a bit more, without obviously being too like lackadaisy, like, but that's really helped. I do a lot of breathing before games, and then just my routine is a big one. I kind of keep Monday to Friday pretty similar week to week, and then just enjoy my weekend, switch off, no routines in the weekend. No routines in the weekend. just keep myself sane.
Yeah. Very good. That's excellent. And for Rovers, you say obviously you're seeing all the developments coming to fruition over the last couple of years, and I'm only bringing my son out this season. Got the season ticket and all. I'm really enjoying it, getting him involved. You do an awful lot of work outside the football. You've been to visit my son's school. I'm sure you've been to many schools around Tala and the area, and I've seen you at the square last week as well doing work. So
doing the dance battle.
Doing this, we haven't commented. Can we discuss your dance moves in the square?
No problem. It's gone viral on TikTok.
Oh, it's classic. It was you and Danny and the Hooperman, wasn't it?
Yeah, Danny was a disgrace.
In fairness, he let himself down. He gave up halfway.
His heart and soul wasn't in it. I told that.
This wasn't it.
No
commitment. I seen. I know the Hooperman guy. I know him, Luke. I know, and he just gave it the little jump around as the mascots do. You kind of went for it yourself, like.
He was hidden, you see, so he could do what he wanted, like, and no one cared. Like, you know what I mean? I put my heart and soul into it.
So, just going back to that question, sorry, you seem to embrace everything inside the football and outside the football, really, just to promote the club. Do you truly enjoy doing all that stuff as well? It must bring great self-satisfaction.
Yeah, I don't know if it brings self-satisfaction, but I think you mentioned they're going to the schools, especially with the FAI Cup. Like, you see how much it means to the young kids. Like, I used to be embarrassed when people were asking for me autograph or photos. I think myself, why do you want my photograph? But like you say, it's all for the good of the league. Like, these kids are coming to watch us every week, and they get the chance to get a picture or the chance to see like their team winning silverware. And it's also maybe an ambition of them to play for Shamrock Rovers and win trophies, or even play in the league. And it's a great community feeling as well. Like, being able to say, like, this could be yours. Like, I mean, if you work hard at something, if you love something, if you're passionate about something, never give up on it, because you could be standing here in front of the next generation of kids, inspiring them. Like,
we'll clip that. That sounds good.
It's very achievable, though, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's not a thing like where like. It's very unrealistic. It's a very achievable thing for a kid to do if they just start putting in the work at an early enough age. Like, I know obviously you're gonna have to get some sort of guidance from the parents just to kind of give them a bit of extra help, but like, it's very like for going to schools and talking to kids about that sort of thing, it must be good to kind of say, look, I'm doing it. There's no reason you can't do it. Like,
yeah, 100%. And like, even like, it looks at like everyone has an ambition of playing in England or Europe or wherever. Like, football's on our front door here in Ireland, and it's a really good level. Like you say, like, I've been playing League of Ireland all my life, and I played against AC Milan. You know what I mean? Like, many people can say that, like, you know what I mean? And you get to experience these European trips, which is fantastic. You have the opportunity to do that in your first step. You could be playing in the Championship or the Championship in Scotland as well, like, and you never get a chance to play European football. Like, so it's like elite level football is on your doorstep. So they always had dreams and ambitions to play for that. I even went down to a school, and I was talking to students about saying, no matter what it is, whatever your passion is, if you love something, just keep striving for it, because even if you don't get to the very top where you want to be, you'll always be happy, and you'll always enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting in kind of 100% for it. So I'm gonna just jump back onto another question there. So obviously we're talking about you being full time at Rovers. So I want to know, like, talk us through your kind of day-to-day routine. Or I know you were saying there you keep everything very similar. What does it look like as a professional footballer now in Ireland? Like, what are your duties to the club, and what are your hours kind of with the club?
Obviously, duties you have to be at training. Like, suppose like, so they give you my sort of like routine. I get up and have me breakfast maybe about an hour and a half before I have to be in training. Give myself plenty of time, and then we go in, sort of do my foam rolling, do my stretching, do my activation. Depending on the day, you might have video, and then you're out on the pitch working hard. Then afterwards, you sort of like have some food. If it's a double session, we'll be in the gym after that, and then you might come home maybe about 2:30ish or so. Myself, then I like to have something more to eat, just because I think it just helps. I love food, and I just think it helps with recovery. So if I have time to get some food in, and maybe a 20-minute nap,
I'm gonna guess it's not like a bar of sausage and chips, aren't it?
No, fresh cod. Yeah,
only on a
like,
Friday night.
yeah. Like say again,
After the
like
game.
I like me cooking. So what I tend to do is I cook a lot for dinner, and whatever's not eaten will be left. I'll eat leftovers when I come home from training, and then I'll start dinner, and then the process repeats itself. Like probably one thing I've really taken from coming to full-time football, like is the recovery side of things, because I used to always love training and trying to get the extra sessions in and going to the gym maybe 4 or 5 times a week and like doing extra runs or whatever. But full time, I thought like what I've got to learn was the recovery is everything. Like as I say, like you have the opportunity to go in, train hard, do a little bit extra if you want, and you're still coming home at an early enough time where you can get your little naps in, you can start eating, you can just have the rest of the day to sort of devote to recovery. And my missus might think I'm lazy, and people might think I'm lazy, but that's what I've really started to do. Like it made me sort of like evenings that like right, this is me time, with feet up. I'm relaxed. Obviously, you run the odd errands here and there, like and stuff to do when stuff pops up. But like most times I keep it. I'm kind of relaxing sort of as soon as I get home from training or wherever like that. That will benefit me come Friday. It's all about peaking on Friday, so.
And it is all about the sports science, though, isn't it? Like looking after your body and mind. Like the rest is just as important as the work you put in. Like, and have you got any sports scientists around Shamrock Rovers that would give you this advice, or have you just learned this yourself?
We've had like, plenty of people, strength and conditioning coaches over the year would always say that. Like over the years, I would say that. Like, and it's have conversations with people who are always preaching that. Like, well, I suppose it's about what works for you. Now, like this mightn't work for everybody. What works for me, some people get say cabin fever sitting around. They might want to go out on a walk and stretch their legs or have a coffee, which is fine. I do that from time to time myself, but I just think like it suits me. Like I come home, I've done all my hard work, and I'll start making dinner, and that's a relaxing mechanism for me. Is prepping dinner and cooking dinner, and then you can have the evening to relax yourself. Like.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on one thing. You mentioned that they're playing AC Milan in Europe. So talk to us about kind of the experience of playing in Europe. It's obviously a completely different ballgame. What are the differences kind of with playing in the European matches against kind of?
It's still football, Cuddy.
Yeah. Obviously, like you have to. Is it a different preparation? Is there more work put in? Does it become a more kind of defensive? You're coming up against AC Milan. You obviously know you're not going to bash them around for 90 minutes. So does it become more tactical then, like in that way?
No, like I don't want to say it's any different than your right game, like because it is. It's because it's not someone that you've played before. Usually, so you haven't got like sort of a lot of games that you might have seen them in. Like say, like if we're playing like Finn Harps, we might have seen them playing the week before and the week before that, and watch a few of their clips, or you could be playing against them to say last year. So you will look at doing a bit more sort of video analysis on them and maybe trying to identify where they're strong, where they're weak, and then sort of derive a game plan from that. Like I think as well, going into the games, you just get the feeling that it's a big game. Like obviously you play many big games here in the league, but it's just like a different feeling. That like it's almost the unknown of what team is going to come out here. Obviously, you know it could be a strong team, but you've never faced it before. Like so, there's that sort of like added sort of excitement involved into it as well. And then obviously the quality there, like you know, like that. If you make one or two mistakes, you're going to be punished more times than not. Like so, there's that sort of like pressure as well. Like on you, like so, it's just like a melting pot full of emotions. Like and it's about how you handle them on them days.
Yeah. One thing before I jump onto you, Paddy. Have you ever signed yourself in FIFA?
No. When I was younger,
that's a lie.
No, it's not. It's not. I swear, I don't play FIFA that much anymore. I've seen. I think when I was forced in FIFA, I seen my stats, and I was like, no chance of me signing myself. So I just created my own player and just put all my stats at 90.
Paddy, I'll jump onto you there.
Talking again about Europe, Zlatan came to Tallaght Stadium, didn't he? Did you play against him?
So that was his first game back after coming back from injury was against us.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Jesus. And so looking at the way he plays, he tries to bully the opposition. Was he tough to play against? And again, this brings into the psychology of the game as well. Do you get that a lot where players will try and bully you on the pitch, and you have to it's mind over matter to nearly beat them?
He's an arsehole, he is.
Yeah. Like he was very tough to play against. I have to say, just how clever he was, how strong he was, and how athletic he was, and just like it's like the trickery he had. Like he was able to pull something out of the bag, and then he had mind games just all the time with all the players. Like I was obviously very close to him in the game, and he just kept trying to talk to me, kept trying to switch me off and lure me into a false sense of security.
What's he saying there? Like, what's he saying? Is he like, you look great, or like, is he giving you confidence or what?
Like he'd be more so talking to himself. Like, and I think in the lead up to one of their goals beforehand, I clipped his ankle, complete accident, and then he went off and scored. And he kept coming up to me and saying, "You won't kick Zlatan again, will you?"
Does he refer to himself in the third person, does he?
Yeah. And he was like saying, come on, hold my hand, let's go. Because I was getting tight to him. He's like, "Come on, you want to hold my hand? Let's go." Like, and second half, this is incredible. Like, I didn't know what to say to this. Like, the second half, he fell me. We're going for a head on. He fell me. And I went to grab the ball off him, and he tried to kick it away. I was like, "You relax there, big man." And he goes to me, he said, "Come on, pull up your shorts, show me your balls." And I just started laughing. I was just thinking, like, what can you even say to that? Like, I nearly felt like doing it because Zlatan said it to me. Like, so,
yeah, exactly. Just start pulling your balls out. Like, that's what you're doing.
Like, this fella is crazy. Like, so, but no, it was great. Then after the game, he was lovely. I say, shook the hand, like, and he was great. I think Green, I said his son was looking for his jersey, like, and he was looking around for Green or son, saying, "I'll make your son happy." And it was he was brilliant after the game. But like until the final whistle goes, he was really nutcase.
Yeah.
Game face on, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Did they hang around, or did he kind of just tip off straight away? Like, do you get to chat with them at all, or are they just gone then?
Do you know what? We played a Finnish team before we played AC Milan, and they had some ego about them. Like, they absolutely smelled themselves and just giving it the big one on the pitch. And we beat them on penalty, which beating record penalties. We beat them, and they were gone after that. AC Milan were just different class. Every player sort of hung around, shook our hands. They were changing jerseys, swapping jerseys with lads that wanted to swap. And I think Maldini is the sporting director over there. He was down on the touchline afterwards to shake everyone's hand. And they were just like, it was class from every person.
Yeah, and that's why it's a class club as well, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
It runs right through the club. No, that's great. And I suppose going back to your international career, when did you first get called up, and how much of a proud moment that must have been? I think your father's Cape Verdean. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it must have been a really, really proud moment.
Yeah, it was incredibly proud, and I suppose it happened really quickly. That it's only when you think back, like, that you realise it's like this is a really, really big deal for me and my family. Like, I think I played my first game was in 2019 in October. It was a friendly, so I was able to play because I think I played 2 friendlies there, one against Togo, one against Marseille, and then I couldn't get playing any competitive games because I needed my paperwork to be cleared by FIFA and all that, and that took a bit of time. But yeah, just being involved in the group, like, was fantastic, and being able to put on the jersey and telling all my family and friends that, like, I've played to make a debut, like, I'm delighted, yeah.
And when, like, you obviously said you went from Bows to Shamrock Rovers, and you knew a few people there, obviously from playing in League of Ireland. But you go over and play for Cape Verde. Is it like the first day at school? You don't know anyone there. Like, they're kind of looking at the lad from Crumlin, you know what I mean? How do you integrate into that when you start off?
Yeah, it was tough. That was probably what I was most worried about. Like, did anyone speak English? Would I be or would I be stuck on my own? And I actually met one of the players in the airport when we arrived in Marseille, like, and went over to say all right, like, and he didn't speak English. He only spoke French and Creole, like. So I was like, oh Jesus, like, it's going to be tough, like, but. Yeah.
I can draw on crayons, that's all right. How are you?
Just send a little note. But yeah, no, like, once I got into this sort of, like, even on the bus, I was like, Jesus, like, they're all speaking Creole to each other, like, so I'm not really going to get involved here because it's hard getting in a conversation, especially when you don't know the language. Even now, when I know a little bit, it's still difficult to jump in a conversation, like. But then once I got to the hotel, like, my roommate at the time, Bruno, he spoke great English. He played in Norway, so he sort of settled me in there. And then I realised that, like, loads of lads spoke English, and I was picking up the odd word or two here. at training, and for the end of the week, like in the matches, I was just speaking Creole, like, so that would, for me, that was a huge success, like.
Excellent. Wow, that's amazing. And so, one last question on, I suppose, I always think back to Roy Keane when he went to the World Cup in '94 and he was giving out about the facilities and everything else. Were the conditions and the facilities good at AFCON for yourselves? Was it a step up what you're used to with Shamrock Rovers, the training facilities and the games and stadiums and stuff like that?
Yeah, the stadium and the training facilities were unbelievable, I have to say. I won't say many good things about the second hotel because it nearly killed me with food poisoning. Yeah, so
name and shame them.
The less said about them, the better. Like, but now, like as I say, I was just buzzing to be at the competition and being there to play football internationally. I'm just so happy and so proud to be a part of that. Like that, I'm not really thinking about. I wonder if we're staying in a 5-star hotel with a jacuzzi. Like, I would like the food.
Tent, like playing internationally.
I would like the food to be edible. That'd be the only sort of request. Yeah, that'd be great. But no, it's just like the training facilities and the stadiums were first class over there.
Brilliant stuff. Khalil, I'll hand it over to you now.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, right? So I'm going to touch on to the more kind of not really controversial things, but of the weird things that you see in the African Cup Nation. There's one comment in there about the ref with the time, and obviously it wasn't your match, but are you aware of all these things that are happening? Like now, look, I'm gonna just bring up obviously the fans that died, the Cameroon fans, which is obviously a tragedy there. But like, are you aware of all these kind of things that happen outside the stadium? I know you're kind of in game mode, but
we are. Say if we're not trying and we're watching all the games, like together in our rooms or at dinner, like, and everyone sort of like, you hear the news, like we follow all the sort of like the AFCON sort of Twitter pages, social media, and you do hear about it, like obviously the tragedy that happened with the Cameroon players, like the Cameroon fans, like like I say, like once you're in the competition, you're immersed by anything, and you hear everything, like, and the referee was a crazy one, and there was a few, like I remember
he's just laughing at that, like
I couldn't believe it. There was actually, I think there was a game on before that I seen it on Twitter and I sent it into the group chat, and like it was like lad rolled off like the pitch after getting like broke up with a 2-foot tackle, and he was rolling around crying. And as he's rolling around, he just seen a man and he hit him the box in the back, and he started screaming. It was right in front of the mics, like I think it was this is gas. And then obviously the referees saw it happen the day after that. It was this is brilliant. This is like box office stuff.
It's pure entertainment.
Football aside, it's so entertaining. Yeah.
The ref one I seen a meme was it when your girlfriend texts you to Netflix and chill, and you just finish the game early and gone.
He finished it early like 2 or 3 times, and he stopped it in the 85th minute, like, and then Jesus, 89th.
Played it on,
he didn't ref another game, and they said there was, I don't know, he had I think it was heat stroke or something.
So I just want to, like, sticking on that kind of competition and then kind of talking about this, I suppose it's not the controversial side of things, but the things that like people are always talking about, like the reputation of the competition itself. I know watching kind of Super Saturday, and you hear kind of Paul Merson and all them type of players that are pundits, I suppose, talking about like maybe it's not as high profile, and I hear all these ridiculous comments, but when I see how proud every single person is that's playing at the competition, like, how do you kind of justify people saying that it's not a big tournament? And like, to me, it looks like one of the, although there may be a few little things here or there, how can you not be proud to play in that type of tournament? Like,
yeah, exactly. I think this year as well, especially that the coverage was on Sky, it really gave it that sort of opportunity to say, like, and it's like, it is a big tournament. So for me, it's always been a big tournament, something that I watched growing up, like, and loved watching, because you say, like, you just see so many exciting things, like whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch. Exactly, it's very entertaining, and the quality of football there is really good, and you see like some people.
Two of the best players in the world are playing, like.
Exactly, made it to the final, like, and just
don't forget about Pico.
I thought you were going to say the keeper of Senegal.
Mendy,
yeah. But like, that's the caliber of players here, and like, I think the fact that you have the big leagues like the Premier League saying that, we don't want to lose players to the AFCON, just goes to show you how strong a tournament is. Like, when some of the best teams in the world are losing their best players to a tournament, like. And look, it's a fantastic tournament. Like I know the first round of games, the people are saying like it's not great because it was cagey. Like, boy, I've watched Euros and World Cups where no one wants to lose the first game, and so they're real scrappy games. And after that, the tournament opens up. Like, and that's not necessarily in 30-degree heat all the time. Like, it's the conditions over there are very hard to play in. But it's a great tournament, and you say the passion can't be beat. Like, the African fans are second to none. Like, I have to say, like, I hated Vivo Suarez before I went over there, but actually hearing them live, it does create an unbelievable atmosphere. I swear to God, So
I'll bring them down to the next Rovers game. You'll know what's me.
Please do. It'll only be one Vivo Suarez. It'll sound like about 500.
Just a quick one. We're gonna wrap up in the next kind of 5 minutes, so we'll just run through a quick few. So Laura Bourne, I actually think this could be Josh, who was actually in the Rovers Academy. Who would be the best on your team? Pico, controversial. You get a bit of stick off the lads if you pick someone out here.
Pick yourself.
I would do. Obviously Jack is probably one of the best players I played with. He's fantastic. I love Dylan Watts as well. Dylan Watts is slick. So 2 of them for me. I'll pick 2.
All right, fair enough. So at least you have someone fighting, 2 of them fighting your corner. So I another thing that we kind of we always ask someone, and Paddy, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to ask him straight away: Messi or Ronaldo?
Going to me head,
prime time.
Right, going to me head, Messi.
Love it. I'm always looking for Messi.
But I love Ronaldo as well.
Go.
I wouldn't be either or both.
Yeah. We're blessed to be able to watch the both of them at the same time. Like, Paddy, have you wanted to finish up on?
Yeah, just 1 or 2 quick fire ones. So only quick answers. So your favorite moment as a player?
Winning the FA Cup.
Win the FA Cup. And why that over the league?
To be honest with you, I've always wanted to win the league. The league was always my sort of first goal and ambition. But I think the reaction after we won it, being the first time I think to win it in so long, like, and just saying what I meant to people, like, it just sort of stays with it a bit longer.
Right. Look, before I pass over to Collie to close out, from your own personal point of view, just want to say thanks very much for coming on, Pico. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and looking forward to cheering you on for the rest of the season. Good man.
Thanks,
I'll echo that as well. Nice one coming on. Just a quick one. Can we talk about the tackle at matinee? Don't know if you want a quick word on that one.
No, look, as I say, I'm really embarrassed when people ask me that. Like, I want to be a tackle on matinee. I was just like, that's what you have to do. You have to tackle
exactly. What am I not going to tackle him? Like,
I'm just raging that I wasn't on the second half. Maybe to get a few more in. But look, I suppose it's great when people are talking about it. Like, but I don't want me head to get too big about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Well, look, we're gonna let you get back to your pancakes, Pico. I want to say a massive thanks for coming on. Right, really appreciate it. A big thanks to Shamrock Rovers, obviously, for letting you come on as well. So we do really appreciate it. For everybody that is watching, and if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the follow button, like, share, all that good stuff. Next week we have Keith Fatty, as far as I'm aware, coming on. So we'll be chatting to Keith. So we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna see us all at 8:30 next Tuesday. So we'll talk to everybody then.